Hello and welcome everyone. I am Ducky Obrien and welcome to episode 13 of the Ducky Obrien Show. Today we'll be going over the horror film Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Yes, you heard me correctly. Winnie the Pooh has a horror film out. I don't think it's from the official creators, obviously, it's just set in that universe. Anyways, we have a special guest today, Captain Passive Aggressive. Yes, the official WWE superstar, Captain Passive Aggressive, the funniest wrestler on the planet Earth.
Hey guys, it's me, Captain Passive Aggressive.
It's a Mia Mario.
No,
Okay.
this is Patrick.
Alright, so Captain, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, sure. So, this movie was not something I'd recommend per se. It kind of surprised me how it started out. The first two actors were pretty good, I want to say, and the intro was kind of old storybook style, almost. As it went on, it just sort of dragged on and on. It reminded me of, you remember back in the day, they used to have a bunch of movie trailers for things like this, where they just do something like Super Mario Bros. In the real world, and just leave it at that. I think this concept would have worked a little bit better, just as something on its own like that, you know?
Okay. Yeah, for me, I went in thinking it was gonna be really bad, and some parts of it definitely were really bad. But also, I thought it was pretty okay. That kind of nailed a campy B or even C tier horror film vibe for me. Other than the costumes looking a little bit goofy for Pooh and what was the other guy, Piglet? It was a little bit hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit hard to take him seriously. But there are some scenes where
You said they might come out with a sequel with
yeah,
the other.
I feel like they will because
the
they
other
showed
characters.
like Tigger and the bunny dude. What's his name? Is it just Rabbit?
Rabbit.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
showed their
Yeah.
outlines, but they didn't show the characters. So I think they were planning a sequel, in my opinion, because you show 4 villains and you only have 2. It's kind of a minor spoiler there, but yeah, I thought they were going for a sequel. It felt like it. Yeah, going back to the movie, there's some scenes of extreme gore, and I think it looked a little bit better than I thought. I thought it was going to be super low budget, but it felt like it had a sort of budget. It had all the tropes of like classic camp horror.
Mm.
Was it good? Not to me, but I'm not a horror buff, so I don't know if it would make other horror fans happy. But for me, it wasn't self-aware enough where I could enjoy it. That's my main takeaway. It was kind of like it was trying to be too serious, and there's some moments where it had like humor, but like I don't know if they're trying to go for that, but it just didn't hit the same.
Humor didn't really click.
Yeah,
It wasn't. One thing I wanted
Yeah.
to say real quick is, could you name, other than Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, and Christopher Robin and his wife, could you name any of the characters?
No, they all look the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that really bugged me. Like, they had a bunch of characters, but they didn't really mean anything. They didn't really have any character arcs per se. I remember bits and pieces, but it didn't really go anywhere, you know?
Yeah, we were even confused about like there was a girl that shows up later that's like kidnapped by Piglet, and we're like, who is this girl?
You weren't sure which one
we weren't sure which
yeah.
one. They all look identical. They sound identical. They don't really build them up as characters.
They didn't stand out enough.
Yeah,
Like, they didn't. I will also say, I think that might also be a bit of their acting range, you know? Like,
true.
aside from Christopher Robin and his wife in the beginning, they were pretty good. I almost want to say I will say they were too good for this, but compared to like all the other actors they had, they actually kind of sold me. They stood out. Everyone else sort of blended together, and
Yeah.
you know, they had a bit of background on some of the characters. They showed some of what they were going through, but it never really went anywhere. It never really meant anything in the story. And I vaguely remember traumatic event one of the characters was describing. It didn't make much sense, which made it a bit difficult to, to feel for the character.
Yeah, because also the way they scripted it, you didn't. It's a scene where one of the female protagonists are talking to a psychiatrist. She's clearly talking about something that happened, but we don't know what it is until later, and we find out that it was basically just the stalker who was somehow entering her room, which again doesn't really make sense.
Yeah,
like,
the way they described that in the movie just didn't make much sense to me.
you're just confused as to what's happening. If you spend that much time trying to figure out what's happening, it's less time developing any sort of attachment to the characters.
One other thing I was thinking about is that I remember back in the day, I guess before my time, they used to have a lot of big horror movies like Friday the 13th,
Mm-hmm.
Nightmare on Elm Street. They made so many of these movies. Some of these franchises had like 10 movies total, 10 or more, I want to say. I think part of that is because a lot of horror movies can be cheaper to make
Yeah, for
in
sure.
terms of you can just make a setting in a middle of nowhere place and just reuse the same costume, same setup. I don't know too much about it, but just the actors and equipment at that point. I mean, compared to like other big movies where they have massive budgets for special effects, you can make a huge return on these sorts of things and you can make a lot of movies. This seemed like something they weren't quite ready to do, I almost want to say. What was your favorite part of it?
Favorite part is a good question. Oh man. I have my favorite dumb moments. I don't know if there's like a favorite moment
Okay,
because it's so good, but
that's good enough.
yeah. So one of them is there's one of the girls fall into this really shallow and narrow pool, and then Piglet jumps into the water with her, and then he is like walking in a straight line, and the girl instead of
Menacingly.
very
Walking straight.
menacingly, and he's like swinging the hammer. He has a hammer with him, and instead of
Yeah.
like going to the edge of the pool, which is right there, she tries to, for some odd reason, just walk in a straight line and not even swim or anything. She's walking slowly away from him, and he reaches her and hits her in the head. And I was like, girl, you had so much time, because he's just like taking his sweet time, just swinging the hammer around. I understand why, to build up tension, right?
Mhm.
You could have climbed up the side, bro. What are you doing? And another favorite moment is favorite dumb moment is they're trying to build up these characters in a short amount of time. I totally get it. Anime does this all the time, where they like show like a mega exaggerated caricature in like 10 seconds to help you get an idea of the person. And one of them is like a booba e-girl, and she's just in her underwear and taking these pictures.
Oh,
Yeah, and then she's doing it again in the jacuzzi or hot tub. And then yeah.
I'm somehow not surprised you chose that moment.
It's not for the booba, I promise.
I don't believe you, but you know, go on.
I care about the plot. The booba doesn't matter to me. Definitely. Or what about you though? What about you?
So I'm kind of between two, I guess two scenes. I really like the kind of dark storybook style they went with at the beginning
Oh
when they're when they're introducing Winnie the Pooh and his gang, Piglets, Tigger, Rabbits, and Eeyore. I don't know if we need to put a spoiler
No, we can go
warning for
straight
this,
into
but
spoilers now. Let's just
okay, yeah,
tell
yeah.
people we're going to
They
spoilers.
eat Eeyore, don't they?
Yeah, I think they do. Yep.
That's because Christopher Robin stops feeding them, stops visiting them, stops bringing out the best in them. It's a lot to unpack, but I feel the way they chose to do it was probably the best they could have hoped for or gone for. It was really cheesy at the end.
Yeah.
I think most of their budget went into that last fight with Winnie the Pooh and some truckers they come across, along with that one surviving girl, and Christopher Robin. I feel like it's been done a bunch of times, this sort of thing, but it's always a lot of fun to see it come together.
I thought that whole eating Eeyore thing didn't really make sense, because like if they're living in the woods and they're animals, like wouldn't they be able to find other sources of food? I'm just saying, unless they're really bad at that sort of stuff. How are they existing before Christopher Robin found them? We need the actual lore, the prequel.
I'm not that invested that I want to.
Right. I was just thinking about it. I was like, yo, they're animals, bro. Like, you know, like I see animals in the wild and they're not like eating each other all the time. I'm just talking about like a rabbit.
They do not need to eat another one of them.
Exactly.
Don't they start eating people at one point?
Yeah,
after that?
yeah. Just eat people, you know? Why eat each other?
I don't remember the explanation they give. I think they said they were dark spirits or something off like that. it's a lot to take in, and it's a lot to throw at the audience. The way they did it, I thought it was all right.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah.
I actually thought a lot of the movie was actually okay, other than the costumes for Pooh and Piglet being a little bit goofy. But you can't really see him because it's dark, so that's okay. But when you do see close-ups, you're like, oh, that is funny, like unintentionally funny. But other than that, I actually thought the movie was okay. You know, it wasn't good, but I wasn't like.
I disagree with you, but I can.
Okay. Is it
I
like
think
the
I can
Olive
see.
Garden? I think my bar is too
Oh,
low.
this guy.
Yeah, the Olive Garden is a great restaurant. You gotta leave
I
a
don't know where
comment
to.
below if you agree or disagree on that. We'll get a vote from the audience. Any
I have a
yeah.
great idea for you,
Mm-hmm.
Ducky.
What's the idea?
If you think Olive Garden is an abomination, give a thumbs up.
Oh, nice,
If
nice.
if you don't, then
Send me money.
yeah.
Send me money so I can eat an Olive Garden again.
That's a terrible place to be. That's a terrible goal. That's I forgot what I was talking about too. You want to talk about the fight scene at the end again?
Sure, I didn't mind it. I thought it was a little weird. There's some power leveling going on where, again, we're gonna go into spoilers. Piglet just dies because a girl shoots him, and then does he?
No, she hits him with
The hammer.
yeah.
Okay. Sorry, see, we forgot because like the movie's not memorable.
Do you remember her catchphrase?
What was the catchphrase?
I can't remember it.
I don't remember either. Hammer time.
Oh.
F you. I don't know. Anyways, this little piggy went to the market. I don't know. Anyways, he dies to a hammer. Like a lady smashes him.
Went to hell.
Yeah, this little piggy went to hell. Yep. Oh, so a lady picks up a hammer. We don't know where she came from. Piglet apparently kept her and was torturing her, and we're trying to figure out where she came from. We couldn't figure it out because all the other girls
It's
actually
hard
died.
to like imagine how the setting looks like.
Yeah.
How everything.
How everything came to be because it's very disjointed.
Or just like how close they are to the hideouts because they go through it quite a bit, but they don't really give too much indication of how far they travel to find them or how far away from everything else they are.
Yeah, and Winnie the Pooh can drive. So apparently he can drive, so he can be super far. It doesn't make sense. Piglet dies super easily, and then there are dudes, again, going back to the final fight scene, like 4 hillbillies are surrounding Pooh, and then he just like goes Ip Man on him, and he just kills all of them.
Well, he takes their hits first, bats, knives, I think some glass bottles they hit him with. Then at the very end, it was either that girl or Christopher Robin just
oh yeah,
straight on hits him with the truck.
Yeah, he's pinned between 2 cars, and he's just like, I'm fine.
He just like I think he like pushes the one car off of him, gets out, and you like the catchphrase he gives or the one-liner, I guess. So why don't you?
Okay, so the one-liner, so the whole deal was the animals decided to revert to being feral, and they promised to never talk in the human language again. And then at the very end, Winnie the Pooh goes, "You left," because Christopher Robin left.
Christopher Robin's like, no,
save.
You don't have to kill her.
There's goodness in you. I believe it. And he's like, you left, and he just kills the girl, right? But he should have said, "Oh bother," and then kill the girl, and it would have been so much better. Because then that would have been funny and dark. Because he's just like, "This is just a bother." Can you imagine Pooh going around?
Said, maybe. Don't bother would have worked too.
Yeah, don't bother, or like, oh, Christopher Robin. Any of his catchphrases would have worked there, except for you left. Yeah, or was it you lied? I don't remember. I don't even remember the catchphrase.
I said it's Morbin time.
It's Morbin time. Morbin time would have worked. Oh my god, that would have been super funny. Jared Leto as Pooh. Can you imagine? That's the only work he can get. But
what's Jared Leto doing nowadays? I heard he's a bit of a weirdo guy in real life.
I don't know. Maybe cocaine.
I don't know.
I don't know. DMT. Pull up the board, Jamie.
Cocaine is a pretty safe bet for a lot of celebrities out there.
Yeah, maybe he was Cocaine Bear. He's not even acting.
It's like you and Olive Garden, just a step higher. The next evolution.
I feel like they dropped the ball on a lot of stuff where like Oh Bother would have been perfect at the end. And there's not enough ties to Winnie the Pooh, and it's not self-aware, and it doesn't seem to pay enough homage. There's some scenes where they have like little, like the 100 acre sign, you know, they flash that sort of stuff, but like I would have preferred them to actually make a Winnie the Pooh fan movie and a horror film, as opposed to just, I think what they're going for is shock value, where they're like, oh my god, there's this Winnie the Pooh horror movie.
That's it. That's why I feel. I think that's why it would have worked better as like 2 to 5 minutes, sort of pretend mock trailers for movies like that. Like not actual movies, but just the concept, just like the shock concept. Get it out there, put it together, and those are a lot of fun. They made one for Dora the Explorer as a sort of Indiana Jones character, and it was pretty good. I think they actually made a movie out of that at the end of it. You know, on its own, just concepts like that work probably better in the trailer formats, I want to say. Like, if you just make something real quick with it. I don't know if there's enough potential in something like what they did with Winnie the Pooh. And I think they did one with The Grinch as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I honestly, when I saw the trailer, I didn't think it was an actual movie for the mean one they did for The Grinch. It looked like it was something that would just begin and end at mock trailer for something.
Yeah. It makes me sad. I saw Kung Fury based on your recommendation, and that is an amazing film made by some dudes on YouTube, and they managed to put together a super fun 30-minute movie. I felt like it was well done. I mean, obviously when you like pause the frames and you look at it and you see the flaws in production, it's just low budget CG, right? But like it was made 7 years ago.
They sort of, if anything, they definitely play into the flaws. Like they ham it up a bit. It's one of my favorite parts is you remember after he meets the Viking chicks on the, I want to say, what were they riding? Was it velociraptors or?
I forgot. It's like dinosaurs with like lasers, right?
Oh, they were riding a T-Rex, I want to say.
I don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of it, when he's heading away, she asks, "When will I see you again?" He gives her one of those old portable phones, and it has like a 30-second ad about. It's like a real bulky phone. It has like the number pad and everything. He ends with like, how did it go? Something like, in the future, more and more people will be able to have a phone in their car. It just ended like that. Honestly, that's also a great example of it ended at a good time. Like it was about a 30 minutes film, and if it was an hour, I feel like it might have dragged on a bit, but 30 minutes was the perfect. It was like 40 minutes. It was the perfect time for that.
I was gonna say I like the humor in Kung Fury because it was smart. I don't know if you watch Velocipaster, the movie where the priest.
It's on my list, but
okay. There's some good and bad. I had fun with it. You know, I actually did. And there's some really, I think the entire movie is quotable. Like, there's not enough demand for hooker doctor lawyers. Anyways, the reason why I didn't like Velocipaster as much was I felt that some of the humor wasn't as cohesive. There's some parts where they just make fun of the fact they have no budget. So, like, in the very beginning, a car explodes. And then instead of having like a CGI or whatever, they just have like a sign, a text sign saying CGI of car on fire. That's not really a spoiler. You'll see it right away. But so it's like yeah. I'm not gonna say anything more about the movie, but the butt of the joke, a little too much, ruin the movie for you. But the butt of the joke is that they have no money, and that's the entire butt of the joke. Whereas in Kung Fury, it's like the absurdity of the situation. It's like the scene where Hitler calls the police station, that clip you show me. That part is so funny.
It's classic.
Yeah, the dialogue doesn't make sense either because he's calling a police station. It's like, hello, is this the police? And then the detective guy says yes. And then he's like, F you. And he starts shooting through the phone, and you see the phone dangling on a fish wire, and it just looks super silly. But like the butt of the joke isn't that they have no budget. It's that Hitler is shooting cops through a phone, you know, like, and then
that's probably one of the best scenes in the movie.
It is. You all gotta watch.
You don't even really need any context. Just
That's why
Is
it's
this the
great.
police?
Yes, it
Police,
is.
who's this? Fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah, so I thought that was smart. Sky
It
High.
works really well with
It
the
does.
80s stuff
It does.
too. Yeah.
Sky High is really smart humor too. Velocipaster. There's some really funny lines and dialogue, but some of the jokes are a little, it falls flat a little bit,
Mhm.
and that's kind of like Winnie the Pooh, where I feel like most of the weight was carried by the fact that it's Winnie the Pooh as opposed to actually like what's
Mhm.
happening. Some of the kill scenes are super gruesome though, so like that's where I'm like, oh, this could have been a decent like B tier or C tier camp horror film. I think they just expected Pooh to
Well, I
carry it a little
mean,
too
at the end
hard.
of the day, I think that's almost exactly what it was.
Yeah, yeah,
Just that with trying to get some brand recognition. And I mean, to
yeah.
be fair, I don't think they were trying to be anything other than that.
Oh,
They
for sure. Yeah, yeah.
knew what they were trying to make. They weren't trying to sell it as anything else. Start to finish, I think that's exactly what it was. A bit of a low budget movie with a shock value concept, but it has some fun moments, but
It does. Yeah.
I think that's just sort of where it's at.
Honestly, the only change I would have made is Pooh saying "Oh bother" at the end, like that.
The only
The
change.
only change, yeah. Because if you want to change everything, you got to change too much. You know what I mean? So like, I feel like "Oh
Well,
bother" at the end would have
yeah.
been. I would have been happy with the film then. I'm like, oh my god, he said the thing. You know?
Honestly, I'm at the point where I just really like the action scenes. If they added more of those, I feel like it would
Oh,
have been a lot
yeah.
better.
I mean, if you want, we can wrap it up now. We can say our final thoughts and then our goodbyes.
Yeah, sure. Why don't you go first?
All right, so yeah, my final thought on Winnie the Pooh is that I thought it was an okay movie. I'm not a horror fan. I think they were going for like that B tier, C tier camp horror, and they kind of nailed it for the most part of it being bad. Not it being good, but like that campy feel, the janky
Hmm.
feel. They kind of nailed it. I just wish they had a little bit more of the Winnie the Pooh lore or world or feeling. Like just Pooh not saying "oh bother" at the end bothered me, because that's his catchphrase. Like that's what Winnie the Pooh for. And they didn't
Hmm.
say it. It would have been perfect. Like he's just like he doesn't care anymore. It fits in with the lore too. But
I'm not as big on the
on the
Winnie the
lore,
Pooh
yeah.
lore, but
Yeah, I feel like that's the only change I would have made because if you wanted a different film or it to be better, you would have had to change too many things, and at that point, it's a different movie. So I wouldn't recommend it to people. I mean, not really. There's just like other movies that are just way better, like that are so bad that they end up being masterpieces, or just better made movies like Kung Fury. Even Velocipaster, I would probably recommend over Winnie the Pooh, and that movie is not good either. But it feels more fun, and it's just because of my bias. I'm not a horror fan, so I don't know what a good horror movie is, because I don't think horror movies are good, because I don't find most of them scary. Oh, I did watch Incantation recently, and I thought that was okay. Anyways, that's
hmm.
it. Back to you, Captain.
I really didn't care for this movie. It is probably around a C tier horror movie, but
Mm.
if you can get it for free, if you have nothing else to do, it would be good to play in the background while getting something else done because it doesn't demand too much focus to sort of get where everything is, to sort of see generally what's happening in the movie. It can be mildly entertaining at times. I certainly like the beginning and end of it the most. The middle just seemed to drag on for quite a while, but I haven't seen too many horror movies lately. I'm not. Maybe I'm a little familiar. Some of the more recent ones I've seen are. I think Smile was really good. I guess it was
Okay.
also a bit of a thriller, but I don't know. That kind of got me. It's a bit of a different approach, and they can get away with a lot of interesting dynamics, and they play around with the psychology of it quite a bit, where you're not quite certain quite what's going on, if the narrator is reliable, and how it's going to end. I also really liked. I think this is more similar to this one. Black Phone was another horror movie I'd recommend, and
Okay.
that one you really see a lot more into who the characters are, into especially the villain. He's very animated, and even though it's not expressly stated, you really get a feel for how his past experiences must have played a huge role on corrupting him the lifestyle he's chosen for himself. Those sorts of concepts aren't really shown in Winnie, Blood and Hunger. As I said earlier, I think they knew exactly what they were doing. They produced exactly what was advertised. Lower budget horror movie with a bit of a shock concept to push it forward, to be the drive behind it. That's sort of what it is. That's sort of where it's at. It's a bit entertaining at times, but it's not something to go out of your way for. I guess that's all I have to say about it for now.
Would you say the movie's a piece of poo?
I,
Okay, on that note,
that's a great note.
yeah, thank you very much. I'm here every night. Thank you.
You could really play into it. And this movie sucks my dick out of 10.
Yeah, yep. All right, that's gonna be it. Before you go, you want me to link any socials or anything for credits?
Maybe if I do this more often and I start actually
Gotcha. All right.
making stuff, but I really don't have much out there right now.
That's fine.
I've been thinking about it, but
Oh, just do it.
Stuff gets in the way.
Yeah, just do it, dude. That's my advice. Just do it, and then
I might take you up on that.
yeah, because one problem I had was it's very, I'm just gonna be honest, like it's very hard. Maybe it's harder for me than other people. That's what she said. But maybe it's super difficult.
You said on your own line. You didn't
I know. You can't. Yeah, I know you're not supposed to say it on your own line, but you just can't help it. It's just there.
Okay,
It's like a disease. It's like that Key and Peele skit where the guy just won't stop saying these nuts jokes, or that's what she said jokes.
I think I forgot that one.
Yeah.
I really like the one where that one guy's just having a problem with slap ass, and it like really takes a toll on his family, on his friends. He tries to sneak into like a horse barn and.
I gotta watch more of those skits. But yeah, going back, it's really difficult to make videos or content the way that you envision it at first. So it's like super disheartening. But the reality is, it's like grinding in any video game. You gotta start at the lowest level. Maybe you place a little bit higher, but you just gotta release what you want to make, and then just keep making stuff, and then you'll get better. And then soon you get to a point where you're happy with it. But until you get to that point, you just gotta
being bad at something's the first step to being good at it.
Exactly. Oh, you said it so elegantly there. That could be on a t-shirt.
I think I stole it from something.
It's okay. We don't. If you're a content creator, you don't give credit.
Are we still doing the podcast part, or did we?
Oh no, we can put this in. It's totally fine. We're just riffing at this point. But yeah, that's if you want to make stuff, you can just. I just recommend just doing it and then see what.
I've been leaning towards it, and I thought I could earlier, but my schedule was too many things were happening. I wasn't able to manage it, and even this week's been kind of weird in how things have played out. But sometimes it works out. Sometimes it's a bit trickier. But I would like to start making stuff like this. I would like to make more appearances on the podcast.
Oh, for sure. You're welcome anytime.
And speaking of which, this is sort of my first time doing it, so I figure, it's good to try it out, and probably the next time you see me, I'll have more of an idea of what what I'm doing. But in the meantime, it's nice to get out there, try things.
You don't need to have an idea. It's just talking. We ain't pros here. We're just talking. You don't have to be, you don't have to be prepared or be better at anything. It's just you're speaking your mind. So, and also, if it sounds a little bit awkward, don't worry. For the next episodes, we can record on Audacity separately. It'll give me the ability to edit your voice track separately. And what I do is I edit it to make it sound more coherent. Myself too.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Discord
not
call.
Very gifted technically.
Oh, no one
a
is.
Lot of technologically, I want to say, but I don't know if this would be a good help. Sometimes it helps to have more of a face cam to sort of see where the other people are at, to sort of have an easier time interacting.
Okay.
I'm just sort of getting used to it, shooting out ideas, but I'll I'll try some stuff, see how it works, and
Gotcha.
go from there. But making the first steps,
Yeah.
nice.
Also, I was gonna say it's totally fine if you don't do this stuff because it doesn't make money. So you're probably better off just
Oh yeah, well,
if you don't do it, you don't really lose out. Other than your desire, if you have a desire to make something, then that's unsatisfied. But okay, why don't we say our goodbyes here then, and then end there? I felt like the episode was pretty good.
yeah. Probably some parts to cut out here and there. A bit at the end that was more just less a movie podcast, more just two people talking about things. But
That's why people
I'll
want.
mhm, I'll defer to you on this one.
We'll catch you next time, fellas.
Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you in the next episode.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, there's gonna be more than one, fellas.
Yeah, at least
Yeah.
at least two Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Hunger, or Blood and Hunger, Blood and Honey.
Blood and Hunger Games. There's a crossover now.
I'm getting
Yeah.
I'm getting hungry. I'm gonna have
All right.
have something to eat after this. But for real, it's been good. Thanks for having me, and who knows? Maybe you guys will see me on another podcast.
For sure.
We'll see.
Thank you for dropping by, though. I do appreciate it because it's easier to have a podcast with someone else than by yourself. All right, everyone, that's going to be the end of episode 13 of the Ducky Obrien Show. Thank you once again to everyone for listening and watching. I really do appreciate it. As always, hope you guys are staying safe and sane out there, and we'll catch you guys next time.